I'm Dr. Mike Smith from Action Coach St. Louis, and today with me I've got Dr. Maureen Hughes. And Dr. Maureen Hughes, please tell us about your company.
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Mike. So I am working in a company called Total Harmony Integrated Wellness that I began about 10 years ago in the St. Louis area. My main focus is health and wellness, and the way that it manifests in my business right now is through an ancient form of hands-on therapy, kind of like physical therapy, called Thai massage, although Dr. Mike might attest that massage is a little bit of a misnomer. It's done fully clothed on a floor mat, and it involves assisted yoga-like stretches. I do compression with the hands, the knees, the elbows, and the feet, rocking, and sometimes some gentle sweeping of the hands. And some of it's massage-like, but most of it is really just about getting the biomechanics up and running and working to the best of the ability. And like I said, I've been doing this for about 10 years.
Great. Um, so one of the things that got you into this, tell us how you. Doesn't sound like something you had majored in college. So obviously you've got an advanced degree there. So tell us a little bit about how you got into this type of work.
Right. So while I was in graduate school, I ended up taking a yoga class, and then my yoga teacher got trained in this ancient form of healing. And she did it to me twice and handed me the manual from her class. I was going through her yoga teacher training program at that time. And she's like, go find some clients, which of course wasn't exactly above the board or legal, but based on massage therapy licensing in the state of Missouri. But I did. I worked on a couple clients. They had amazing results. Ended up in the biotechnology field for about 7 years, doing sales for two different companies, and then reached a point in my life I was kind of between burnout, but also like felt like I had enough money in the bank as a nest egg so that I could quit that job and go back to school to become a massage therapist. And then I spent an additional 1,200 hours of training down in Florida to get certified specifically in the Thai massage training.
Great. That's a great story. So when you talk about going back to graduate school and working in the in the business world, tell me, now you've been doing this for how long you've been doing this again? How long have you had your own firm here?
Like 10 years.
So 10 years. You've had 10 years, you've had, another 20,000 hours of work. Um, so tell us, out of all the things that you've done over the last 10 years, if you had to do it over again, what would you change? Any decisions you would say I would have done this differently, or are you pretty much where you're at?
Well, I had some physical bodily injury and some surgeries that were required. You know, I would never wish that on anybody. I had major knee surgery, and then well, COVID happened. Pandemic happened. I would definitely change that. It definitely changed. Both of those changed the trajectory of my business just because the recovery time. Um, but I taught this work for 7 years. I loved doing that. My dad, he was going through his dying process, and I chose to close down my school.
Mhm.
And I haven't reopened it yet, but if I do, it's going to be a completely different branding. So it's a matter of working on that. But yeah, I love what I do. I love seeing clients get better. Um, there are times where it can be a little bit frustrating where people are not committed to their healing,
Right.
and they don't do what they're supposed to be doing. That's definitely something that I have witnessed through the years. But I don't know, like I don't know what I would change.
Right. Right. I think we've all changed COVID and deleted. I know that in your business and many of the medical fields or healing fields, et cetera, it's a hands-on job. So, COVID was very unfair to a lot of you.
Yeah.
And glad to see that you made it through that. And we won't talk about any more of I call it the BC before COVID talk. So the world has changed. Have you seen the behavior of your clients change? Meaning that I've noticed some things, but I will talk about those once you answer that question. So before you were getting clients before COVID, and then now you're getting clients after COVID, what do you think the changes in those two are?
Well, perhaps the philosophy
Philosophy.
of the person that I'm working with definitely is driven more towards the belief that we have an immune system. And I am an immunologist by training. That is like literally what my doctorate was in, biology and biomedical sciences with an emphasis in immunology. But this isn't to say that I didn't have my own battle with it.
Right.
And I took the proper naturopathic ways in order to heal from the long COVID that I was experiencing.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, most of the people that I see are not afraid. And then, I do have some clients that are on the other side, and they've just known me for so long and they trust me and they know that I have their best interests at heart. So they'll come in and see me too.
Right. So when you acquire new clients, tell me about some of the challenges that you have. It's different than, medical where everybody pays for it with insurance. So there's a whole way to market that, or there's a whole way doctors get patients. Um, how how you're able to market and obtain new clients in the business that you're in.
Right. So I do have some help with a marketing firm right now to help draw in some clients for me, and then it's a matter of me sealing the deal.
Mhm.
The reality is that if I talk to a person about what I'm doing, it just clicks in their mind. Because I am kind of on the higher range price wise, even though I don't have insurance capabilities at this point.
Mhm.
Um, there are people who are just dedicated to working, and then I've had some people say that I need to charge twice as much to get people
Right.
even more dedicated to their own
Right.
healing. I want to keep my price in a range that is accessible to people. And I want people to experience Thai massage from someone who is as expert as I am in the area.
Right. So full disclosure for everyone listening in, I'm actually a client. Dr. Maureen and I met at one of the networking events here in the St. Louis region and started chatting. And then I had a big life stress that went on in my life and et cetera. And been to the doctors where you do the stem cell in your back, and I've been to where you get injections in your knees and so on and so forth. But really just not feeling very well and committed to losing some weight and getting on a better, healthier way to live my life. And so it took some talking with me, right? Because I'm one of those people that's kind of stuck in the lane of the practical dentist. And I've used chiropractors before. I do use massage. But one of the things that I noticed the most out of it is really even using a chiropractor and even using a massage therapist that I've used in the past. You're doing things that are different in muscle groups and things that I didn't even know I had, right? Um, so that's unique. So tell me a little bit about how, a Thai massage is different than, let's say, a chiropractor or a regular massage therapist. I think it's important for everybody to know that because I understood it had a leap of faith when you did it and boom, I signed up, right? It was very easy to do. And very easy to get, to understand the value of it. So tell us a little bit about the difference in the two.
Oh, for sure. So I do also have training in massage therapy, so
Mhm.
Swedish and deep tissue, myofascial release. There are so many other specialties of what they consider to be massage therapy now. But the literal definition of massage legally is the rubbing of oil on a person's or lotion on a person's body with hands. All right. So the major difference is that number one, what I do is done fully clothed, usually in gym clothes, sometimes pants, sometimes
Mhm.
shorts. Sometimes people wear long sleeve shirts, sometimes people wear short sleeve shirts.
Right.
Um, in Thailand, they will put you in scrubs. They will tell you
Right.
to change out of your clothing and put you in scrubs.
Right.
And so that's one major difference. And what I've noticed over the years is that I can actually do a better job when a person is wearing a shirt because sometimes the natural oils of the skin will detract from the type of compressions that I do. Not necessarily with the feet, but with the hands. So, for example, if a person is lying down on their belly and I'm pushing my hands on either side of their spine, if their
Mhm.
shirt is off, my hands will slide. And it's a completely different sensation. It's a completely different functionality because my job is to move the tissues, not
Right.
just the skin and the rubbing and the sensation, but really to get a deep compression. So it like pumps the fluids in the body, the lymph, and so that the organs can detoxify and heal.
Right.
So
Right.
that's one of
Great.
the major differences. And then when I'm manipulating the limbs to do things like twists, I'll lift up a person and then place one hand on the shoulder and one hand on the knee and
Right.
just a big stretch. And I listen to the breath, right? I'm not forcing anything. I want to time it just right so that the body can open up as much as possible. And, sometimes people hurt, right? And
Mhm.
in Thailand, if you go to Thailand, they are literally not going to listen to you. They don't care. You will be screaming.
Yeah.
I've done it. I've been there. I've received. I've had bruises because of it. So I like to consider myself a little bit more of a compassionate practitioner, but at the same time, I've worked on Thai practitioners and they're like, "Wow, you're really going for it." And I'm like, "Yes, because that's my job." And you have to tell me if it's too much.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
So
great
that's one of the
expression.
major
So,
differences. I think that there's a lot of feedback, compared to deep tissue massage, which is really, I think, what Thai massage gets compared to a lot. People are like, well, I want deep tissue. I've had deep tissue massage and people can be brutal and you
mhm.
can be sore for days and days and days. Now,
Right.
if I work on a client and they end up being sore, it's usually
Right.
less about what I've done and more about their physical underlying conditions that they're dealing with.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. But the work that I do because of all the compression and then I do acupressure, it can help release some of the knots that are in the body. And then of course, if I go in and I notice something, I'll use some of my massage therapy training in order to work out whatever is in there.
Right.
But it's a
Right.
lot of stretching, right?
Well, it's a lot of stressing and stretching. I think also too, one of the things that you introduce and talk about in a consultative way is how people are feeling and what they're feeling like and et cetera. So I talked to you about a few issues that I was having, and you recommended some different supplements that come from that are high. You can talk about your provider or whatever, but basically they're not just junk pills that there are a lot of times we buy in the store. So tell us a bit about how you when you talk to someone about how they're feeling and some of the services that you offer from a, detoxing, cleansing piece. Tell us a little bit about that as well.
Yeah, for sure. So some of that work goes beyond what I can do with my massage license. So I also work as a lay minister, and then people sign an agreement to work with me in that way. And then once that's all signed, I feel like I have free reign in order to help a person on all levels. So that could be dealing with grief, anger, other mental issues. I've been trained in emotional freedom technique and then have also done a lot of work around a tool called the Choose Again 6 Steps to Personal Freedom. I like to
Mhm.
blend the two of them when I'm working with people because sometimes people are coming in and it's like I can feel the self-hatred. I can feel the loathing that they're carrying around with them. And until we can get past that block, I feel like what I'm going to do on a physical level to get their bones and joints and everything moving again, I feel like it's maybe for naught. So it's really about getting a person aligned inside of themselves, getting their polarity back where it needs to be. And then part of this, like you mentioned, using supplements, I do muscle testing or applied kinesiology. So this is actually commonly taught in chiropractic schools. I learned it about 8 years ago, in part because of the Thai massage training and in part because of a naturopathic conference that I went to.
Mhm.
This beautiful naturopathic doctor was like, "Oh, hey, here's like 8 different ways to muscle test a person." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't even know that there were so many different ways to do it." Um,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. And so then, like I've done with you, I just have a feeling sometimes it's like, "Are you eating this thing?" You're like, "Yeah, it's like something I eat every day." It's like, "Yeah, stop that." Because
Yeah.
it's not just what we're not putting in our bodies that can cause problems. Sometimes
Right.
it's what we are putting in our bodies on a regular basis. I mean, beyond the whole like not eating too many fried foods or processed foods or things like that, but things that are natural, like cherries or peaches or tomatoes. You know, some people should not be eating that on a regular basis, if at all.
Right. Food allergies, yeah. So I thank you. And for those of you non-believers that are out there, I'm a very skeptical, analytical person. So I was in the non-believing and am a true believer in it because I did go out and you helped me through some significant grief that I had in my life that I was having, other professionals help me with, but help me from a physical standpoint, really, really get through those. So it is a, mind, body, and soul type of practice that you're working with. And the certifications like you talked about are really to make sure that you're meeting all the requirements of, the laws, et cetera. So, big believer in it. And thank you for being such a great doctor for me. So I want to talk a little bit more about so the sole practitioner, right? So you're the sole practitioner and you work in two different locations. You'll bring those up in a few minutes. But tell us how you balance your personal life and your business responsibilities to maintain, you're always in a good mood, you're always even keeled, you're always don't seem stressed. So tell us your miracle that you do to balance those two.
Oh yeah, it's that's a good question. So I when my dad, just to be open with you, my dad was going through his dying process. I ended up
Mm-hmm.
going through some pretty intensive psychotherapy. Not
Hmm.
that I wasn't like even keeled before that. Gosh, if you would have met me 25 years ago, you'd be like, "Who is this lady?" I was just like really angry all the time. So so between the yoga and also the study of Ayurveda, so that's ancient Indian medicine, I learned to not eat foods that were going to aggravate this natural heat that I have in my body, this natural
Oh,
tendency
wow.
towards anger. Yeah, so I stopped drinking orange juice and I stopped eating as much fried food. Like, I'm not perfect. Every once in a while, it's kind of
Right.
nice. But then I feel it the
Right.
next day, So it's like, ooh.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I mean, thank you so much for saying that. I really know that I am like part of it has been just being able to put something to the side for long
Right.
enough and then dealing with it when the time is right. And there have been moments where I've needed to cancel appointments over the years because something happened right before someone was coming over. And I'm just like, you know what?
Right.
I am not going to be able to serve this person. But I can only think of that happening twice. Once was when my knee blew out. Right. And
Mhm.
then once was when something happened to my partner at the time. And I was just like, I can't. I have to take care of this right now
Right.
because the dedication that I have towards a partner and I have one.
That's right. That's right. Thank you for sharing that as well. So tell us about some of the misconceptions. You got family and friends, and a lot of them like follow you on Facebook there in your karaoke career there. And so tell us a little bit about what are the misconceptions of your family and friends. So you're a business owner, right? So there's this misconception among people that, you probably drive a Lamborghini, all these things. So tell us about some misconceptions they have and how do you address those with them?
Oh, well, being the type of practitioner that I am, so Thai is like Thailand, and
Right?
Thailand is actually a Buddhist country.
Mhm.
And they're a unique country because they have never been overthrown by any other country in their
Oh,
whole
wow.
existence.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you can't say this. It's the only country. So,
Yeah.
Buddhism is about the middle path. It's about, looking at the human condition and what suffering is and learning how to not just cope with the issue, but to
Okay.
really dive deep down into what is causing the problem. And when it comes to being a Thai therapist and any misconceptions, another thing about being mostly Buddhist is that I live simply. So, if I had the finances, like maybe I would want to drive a fancy car, but I just kind of go with the
Right.
easy breezy. I don't need much to be happy.
Great.
It's moving away from the traditional materialism. Like my mom, when I was a kid, was always like, we don't need to keep up with the Joneses. That's what she would
Right.
always say. And she would give me choices. Like I wanted some Jordache jeans, and she's like, "Well, I'll pay this much. Do you really want to pay the other half?" And I'm like, "Nah, I don't need them that badly." And it's
Great.
not
So
about
I,
not being goal oriented because obviously with my educational background, like I have been extremely goal oriented.
right. Yeah, and you're very organized. So, um, the one thing I would do want to bring up, so one of the things you and I talked about and you initially offered it. So you have a kind of an assessment offer that you offer up, and then you come in and do the assessment, and then you kind of walk through everything that you include with that and talk through or whatever. You want to tell us a little bit about that offer, and that way we can get that on, and then we'll wrap up here in a moment.
Yeah, for sure. So the initial assessment involves around a 45-minute to 1 hour hands-on treatment. And
Mhm,
before I do that treatment, I go through as much of as an extensive health history as I
mhm.
can.
Yeah,
Recent losses and family members, it goes above and beyond just surgeries, dental
right,
problems, you know, it's hard sometimes to go through everything in that first assessment because I know that people that come to
right,
see me really want to get that treatment. But the treatment helps me understand what is going on in my client's body. And it also helps the client understand what is going on in the client's body because it finds everything that you have no clue is going on.
right, right. I got you.
Yeah. So it's about
Yeah,
really bringing awareness to the system on multiple levels.
yeah, and it's very much worth that, and appreciate that. So to wrap up here, so I'm in a lot of networking groups. Obviously, that's where we met. I'm in BNI and Network 9, ICAG, et cetera, the ACA. So tell us, who's your ideal referral partner?
Well, my ideal referral partner are generally people in the health and wellness industry
Okay.
or people who are very interested in maintaining their health or getting back to health. A lot of my clients are post-operative, post-physical therapy. They're still in
Hmm.
pain. I can
Hmm.
help with that. But then some of my clients are athletes. They're already in good health, but they just want to be in peak performance.
Right.
So the people that I can serve run the gamut. But like I said, most of the people that are great referral partners, they know the importance of the work that I do, even if they haven't received it.
Great, great. Thank you. So the last thing is just give us a quick pitch elevator. How do they get a hold of you? Where to find you? Next steps, et cetera. And then we'll wrap up.
Yeah, for sure. So I am located in both St. Peters, Missouri at Core Chiropractic.
Mhm,
It's 500 Jungerman Road, Suite
mhm.
200. So I'm there 3 days a week. Although I do like to travel on Fridays and through the weekend, so like especially to go visit my mom back home. And then I
Right.
also work in the city on South Broadway near Broadway and Chippewa in South City,
Mhm,
St. Louis. It's at a space called Sacred Sword Martial Arts.
mhm.
They do teach Aikido and other forms of Japanese martial arts and martial arts from other countries as well. And so between those two locations, sometimes when I know a person for a while and it makes sense, then I'll see people out of my home as well. And then sometimes I can do in-home work.
Gotcha. All right. Well, thank you very much. Anything else you want to add to the to our podcast here of the great business stories of St. Louis you want to add before we leave?
Well, being in business for as long as I have and seeing people as long as I have, I know that there are other people at times that may serve my clients more than I can at the time. So I have a team and a beautiful referral network of expert practitioners. Many of them have been practiced for over 25 years. But yeah, if people want to reach me, I'm at www.totalharmony.com. I also have a DIY, like a do-it-yourself yoga program.
Yes.
It has a few different classes. You can access them whenever you want, and it's just one low price per
Mhm.
month. And then, yeah, and then I also teach yoga classes around the city as well. So it's exciting.
Great. Great. Thank you for joining us today. And I do give you my highest regards. You've done a great job. You went through the first cycle with me and I signed up for a second cycle. So well worth it all. And really like the supplements that I'm on that help me get rid of, I had a lot of inflammation going on and those things are going down. So greatly appreciate that.
Well, I appreciate you, Dr. Mike, for having me on today.
Have a great day and we'll talk
Yep.
to you soon.
Thanks.